Special person in the home, aren't you, Julia? Yes, you are. I love you lots, don't I? Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's a bit of extra work for us, but that's not the point at the end of the day. We're here for what the residents want.
Oh, I don't know what makes us different. We just stand out, and I think to be outstanding, you have to stand out.
Hi, I'm Lee. Today I'm visiting The Close, an award-winning care home in Oxfordshire who look after a wide range of people, including varying stages of dementia, brain injuries, general nursing, Parkinson's, learning disabilities and epilepsy. They're recognised by the Care Quality Commission, the CQC, as outstanding. I wanted to find out more about how this home got to this level of care, because back in 2015, that was not the story. This 90-bed care home used to have an inadequate rating with the CQC. I wanted to find out how this transformative journey happened and what it is that makes the difference. I was greeted by Paige, who started her career at the Close part-time in the Bistro, the on-site cafe, and is now the activities lead. A real mix
definitely.
of age groups, I've noticed.
Yeah, so our youngest resident is 24 and our eldest is 106.
106 years of age. Standing here, I couldn't quite believe how beautiful and scenic the grounds of the Close are. It's just such an incredible view. Is the river down there?
Yeah, it's River Thames.
In fact, the grounds are so special, Paige started to tell me about an event that happened here.
We got married in the Cotswolds, so about an hour away, and I love the residents and they really wanted to come to the wedding, but my venue wasn't very accessible, and I knew for a fact if I had the residents there, I wouldn't be focused on me and my wedding, I'd be focused on them.
So the team at the Close allowed Paige to host a second wedding here in the gardens.
I had one of the residents, Tony, he walked me down the aisle, and the residents decorated. They done little love hearts with the sticks and to make my aisle. I had a couple of residents be bridesmaids and they all came out, and then we had a little party and we had our first dance again.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's superb. The differences that must make to them surely must be incredible.
Oh yeah, they still talk about the wedding now, and Tony always says, "Oh, Paige, I walked you down the aisle," and it creates new memories for them, and it's so much enjoyment for them.
Paige then made a comment about it meaning a lot to her husband involving the residents too, because he is in fact the head chef here.
He was already working here when I started working here, and I was obviously in the bistro at the time, and Callum was a chef here in the kitchen, and so we'd always see each other because I'd have to come down and get stuff, and then I don't know, it just happened. Yeah, a lot of the
Spontaneous.
They were very excited for us when we got engaged, and then it was always asking about our relationship, asking about wedding questions, and now it's, when are you going to family? It's always the family at the moment.
Family one comes in now.
No pressure now.
But
Glossing over that.
But they're really supportive of us, and they love it. And a couple of them go, "Paige, you need to go chat with your husband. I want this on the menu."
So it works well for the residents because we actually communicate and get on.
It helps.
So it's a little bonus.
Yeah, it does help. My time at the Close started with a tour. We stepped into the fine dining room where Paige mentioned their yearly summer fete, where local businesses and people come together to enjoy games, music and great food. So that's a real community event by the sound of things.
Yes,
local
definitely.
Businesses and local residents from the village, I'm assuming.
Yes, so we have a lot of people from Beresfield, Burcott and Dorchester. They walk up and they come in. We also offer a shuttle service.
And with the engagement with the community and the local village and the residents in the surrounding areas, how do you think that impacts the home? Not just with the residents, but the home more broadly?
I think it's good to interact with the communities. We interact with one of the local schools, and they make Christmas cards for the residents, which get in their present bags, which the residents love, and we've had a couple right back, and it's nice engagement for them. Yeah.
Incredible. I heard a lot of hustle and bustle coming from another room, which is the bistro, where Paige started her career here.
We call it the hub of the home, because it's everywhere everyone mingles. It's a nice little room.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think
Busy at the
there's
moment.
also the fish and chip server is in here as well.
Yeah, so we have a fish and chip hot plate. So on kitchen we'll bring it down, we will keep it in the hot plate, and then the residents will come up to the counter, put their order in, and it will get put in a cardboard fish and chip box. And then they will put their salt and vinegar on, and then we walk them back to their tables. So yeah, it's a proper going out experience.
Incredible.
It's going out without having to actually go out.
Whilst in here, Tony, who walked Paige down the aisle, invited me to sit with him. Our conversation turned quickly to football and how Paige is taking Tony to watch Oxford United at the weekend.
My dad's also going. Tony has met my dad a few times.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously my family come and support me a lot and rent the home with our events, and Tony likes to have a chat with my dad.
Yeah.
And so my dad's going to be there and he's going to come over and say hello.
Sometimes he comes to the fete event.
Yeah, my dad comes to the fete, yeah. And so they've got a good one. They talk about the football. And they're both called Tony, so.
Tony talked about the activities he does, including bingo, fishing, helping the team around the home, going to the pub, and much more.
And we go swimming.
Swimming.
I take him swimming.
Play pool.
Okay.
And darts.
Wow, you've got an incredible activity life. I love that. I've seen the takeaways. Do you enjoy the takeaways?
Indian takeaway, Chinese takeaway. Yeah.
Which takeaway do you prefer the best?
Chicken korma.
Chicken korma is your favourite, is it?
Yeah.
After hearing about how good the food is and all the little touches that go into it, I wanted to meet the kitchen staff. Callum, the head chef and Paige's husband, was telling me about how it's all about including the residents in the menu and in the process. He then went on to talk about their takeaway nights.
We give them all an individual piece of paper with the options and everything on it. They pick and choose which one they like. We present it up to them, and then at 5 o'clock they all get their individual takeaway bag with all their different options that they like. We're always upstairs talking around to all the residents, picking and choosing which ones they like. Curry's a good one that they like, so we implement different curries for stuff. Some people like it spicy, so we'll take a bit out, add a bit of extra chilli in for them personally, and plate it up for them separately so it's not too hot for everyone else. The variety of food has changed from when it used to be 10 odd years ago when I first started. It was quite traditional English, your pies, your fish and chips on a Friday that we do. Changing over to now, where you've got obviously, like what we were saying earlier, the different cultures. They like quite a lot of Italian. We've done a Greek takeaway night as well. At the end of the day, yes, we're cooking for all of our residents, but I've got to try and keep the guys interested and happy in what they're doing and change, so they're enjoying what they're producing.
You said you often go around the home and speak to the residents, so you're not bunkered up in the kitchen on...
No, I make it a good thing for all of our staff to do laps around the home. So every lunchtime as well, when we take because we're a hot trolley service, we take the hot trolleys upstairs, we do a demonstration plate for all of our carers upstairs. So we know what food, how we would plate it. Every resident is going to get the exact same plate upstairs.
And that's a real front of house restaurant ethos to do it that way.
Yeah, I think it's just something that we've implemented, and I know it's a bit of extra work for us, but that's not the point at the end of the day. We're here for what the residents want, and we plate it up how we would want it. You wouldn't want our plate at home that you're making for yourself, everything just chucked on there and then put in front of you. One, it doesn't look appetizing, which is going to reduce people eating. If something looks more interesting and more pleasurable, you're going to naturally eat more of the food. So that's why we implement it, to make sure all the residents are encouraged to eat more and have more choice.
We carried on our tour, but I was intrigued by all these little details that the Close does. They are really adding up and must create a huge impact on the well-being of the residents.
So this is Riverview 1. This is our low dependency dementia unit.
Okay.
So if you can see on their bedroom doors, it actually looks like a door as well.
Paige was telling me the decor and themes used in the home have been designed in such a way to help with the residents remembering certain times in their lives. The iconic posters, the colours, the 70s nostalgia, like the Close's very own TV dinners.
The residents that don't necessarily want to have supper at 5 and they want to eat a bit later.
Even the juice has extra electrolytes for better hydration, and the ice cream has added protein for greater nutrition. Walking down the corridor, I stopped Paige to ask what this space was, and she said it was called the bus stop.
So a lot of the residents, we go, oh, I need to go catch the bus. And we go, okay, why don't we go sit in the bus stop? But then we've also got our rummage boxes. So this was an idea, so we can just pop the box out for the resident and they can rummage through it. There's conversation starters.
You're using it really for well-being and engaging with the residents on a daily basis to start those conversations and get them to open up.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. Which is the most popular box?
I would say it's got to be the seaside or the allotment.
I spotted these tubes. Paige told me they are voting tubes where a question is asked and then the residents can cast their votes.
At the moment it's about fish and chips on a Friday. As you can see, they vote with the balls. They just pop it in and then Lucy will count at the end of the week. I've had questions up there saying, would you like to see more exercise or more films? And it's a good way for them to vote without actually coming to directly tell me. So Clifton is brain injury, and some complex needs.
Right. Within the Clifton wing of the Close is a fabulous room that was recently refurbished called the Dorchester. In the corner, I noticed a rail with some clothing on.
When the staff are serving everyone their dinner, they wear their own chef whites, and they have been given training from Callum and from Richard, our non-clinical manager. And they are called our food service experts. So they have their own chef whites.
So the attention to detail of something like that, do you think it makes a difference to the nutrition and hydration levels of the residents?
I do think so, yes. Obviously, if they're seeing it being done properly, they may be more enticed to eat and drink more, yeah.
The rails also have brightly coloured and bold patterned clothing on as well.
They have been made by one of our housekeeping staff who was also very handy with a sewing machine. So they, instead of using like bibs and aprons and not looking very dignified, Kelly, who's our lady, she has made these into old shirts into clothing protectors. They're very dignified.
Paige showed me the 2025 activity plan for the Close.
I create a monthly programme and then I print it and it gets distributed to the residents. They get one in their room and then we have spare ones put on reception for families and friends. And I've got a couple. Pardon? We have it on the website as well. And I also email it to a couple of family members that have asked for it.
That was Tanya, one of the general managers. She wanted to show me another small detail that makes a big difference.
Okay, so this is our welcome to the Close Care Home family. So everything we've got in here is all details about every member of staff that works in the home. So these all go in every bedroom. So when anybody's admitted, they get to have a look through so they can recognise faces as they go into the rooms. Because we find we're constantly asking our residents for information about them. So why shouldn't they know a little bit more about us?
Nice touch.
Bearing in mind, we're actually working in their home.
I wanted to ask Tanya what all these small details mean for the residents, for the team, and for the quality of care.
One of the things that struck me going around this home has been the small details and the role that those small details are playing every minute of every day. How have you managed to achieve that?
We don't really make a decision in the home unless the residents have chosen or family members have had a say or the staff group themselves have all decided that something needed to change. So I think involvement, encouraging our staff team to have more autonomy, to be involved in the decision making of the home, because at the end of the day, yes, okay, I might manage the home, but it's not my decision to make. It's about just pure involvement of residents, families and the staff group. And some of our best ideas have come from our residents, some of our best ideas have come from our staff groups. Really big ideas obviously came from Sanjay, which has been phenomenal. But yeah, it's about involvement, empowering residents to have a voice, to be able to choose what they want to do. That's what's helped us to implement lots of little changes that we do every day that make such a difference.
I heard the name Sanjay mentioned before and wanted to know more about this person who the residents and the team admire.
Sanjay came on board back in April 2015 when the home unfortunately wasn't doing very well, had embargoes with OCC, inadequate rating with CQC. So Sanjay was asked to come on board as the managing director, and between himself and the structure that he put in the home, we managed to turn it around. He has been invaluable. His love for the home really had a massive impact on residents' lives and their family members. I think Sanjay's put a lot of trust in the team and has supported the team to be able to deliver the most amazing care. And I think without Sanjay, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
On the topic of the team, we popped to the bus stop to speak to Anna, the clinical lead nurse on the dementia side of the close.
I work in conjunction with the other nurses that work here, and it's just about care planning, doing all the person-centred bits of the day, making sure the residents feel at home, they're safe, they're happy, they're cared for.
Amazing. So the changes you've had in technology, and particularly in the ways that you've done doing risk assessments and care planning, what impact has that had on your role and on the residents?
It's had a really good impact actually. So everything is now just in one place on one system. Before we were having to use different systems, part of it paperwork, whereas with the system that we've got now, everything is all in one place. It's easy to find. It means that the carers that come in are able to access all the information that they need to be able to understand, know the residents and how they like to be cared for.
Why did you do care? What attracted you to it in the first place?
I love being around people. I love being around people, I love interacting with people. I couldn't think of anything worse than sitting somewhere quietly or anything like that. I love being able to look after people. I love being able to make a difference to people, just in everyday life.
Another very important member of the team is Vanessa, who runs the salon at the close.
What's that, my love? Oh, that's Julia's picture she drew for me.
Julia drew this?
Yeah, the one with the flower pot.
Oh, that's incredible.
The chimney and the hand. She did it using her thumb and fingers.
Yeah, it's almost as bright as the sky outside today. Yeah.
That's proud of that, aren't we, Julia? Yeah. I put that on my cupboard.
Yeah.
And the other two were drawn by another gentleman, Harry. I treasure those. That's my little treasure chest.
So you had gents in here as well?
Yeah, I do lots of barbering.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So it must make a massive difference to residents. I mean, some of them are coming back from being in stays in hospital and maybe coming into the home for the first time.
Yeah, so if they like certain music, I play music on my phone for them. And then we have a sing-song sometimes. I'm not a very good singer though, am I, Julia?
No, I'm sure you are.
Julia tries to put her hands in her ears, don't you, Julia? Yeah. Or what do you say? Ow! Ow!
Why do you do it now in here?
I absolutely love it because I think it makes a big difference to the residents. I did a lady's hair. I used to do it every week. I set her hair and I showed her the back in the mirror, as you do, the back mirror, and her face lit up. And she said to me, "You've done my hair before." And I said, "I do your hair every week, Jean." And that was it for me. That changed her thought. Right, it's no longer about making money to pay the rent and the rates and the wages for the salon. It's about making a difference to the residents. And that's what I care about very passionately now. So yeah, I love it.
Brilliant.
Don't we, Julia? She's a very special lady, aren't you? Yes, you are. And sometimes if we're a bit sad or we're worried about people, Julia will say, she links hands with me, don't you? And we say a little prayer together, don't we?
Great to meet you, Julia.
Yeah, she's a real star, aren't you? Special person in the home, aren't you, Julia? Yes, you are. I love you lots, don't I? Yeah.
I noticed some young staff members and some work experience students as well. I wanted to ask Tanya about how important young carers are to the industry.
We attract a lot of young people, I think, because of our energy and our vibe and the way we do things quite differently. It's really important for social care going forward that we try and attract as many youngsters as possible. It's something that's going to be around for a long time and we need as many people in social care as possible, we really do.
I sat down with some of the younger carers, Rosie and Jamie, who are activity assistants.
Did you always want to work in care?
I've always wanted to do something that involves helping people. So I did want, First thing was going to be a paramedic, but then I decided I didn't want to do that. So I was calling around care homes because I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And then got the job in the laundry here, and then asked to move to activities.
Why did you get into being in care in the first place?
So my grandmother, she was very poorly, and I helped my parents look after her, and it sort of gave me a feeling of I want to look after people the way I've looked after my grandma. And I mean, it's an amazing experience. It's really good. I think it's a really rewarding job.
So what have you guys got planned for this afternoon?
We're doing a life-size Hungry Hippos game this afternoon.
Sounds amazing.
So I'm really looking forward to it. I think they're going to enjoy it.
Okay.
I've found the activity online on social media, so I sent it to Paige and I said, could we possibly try this? She said, yeah, let's try it. So we're going to try it today, see how they enjoy it.
I noticed they had their phone, so I asked them about digital care planning and their use of Nourish.
Using Nourish to evidence and record care, how easy have you found that?
Oh, very easy. Yeah, really easy.
So what's particularly easy about the way that Nourish works?
The way it's laid out. So you have, for the activities, you have what activity it was, their engagement, how long it was and where it was, and then your daily note. It's like set out in a nice way to understand it easy.
You're doing the notes around the residents and things like that. Do they often refer to what you're doing at all?
I've been asked a few times, oh, what's that for? Just documenting, and then that's really it.
Yeah,
they're not really bothered.
They sort of just ask, what are you doing? And so I'm just writing down what we've been doing during the activity. Oh, okay, no problem.
We bought in Nourish just over a year ago.
Okay, because you were obviously using a different system
We
before.
were.
Just talk to me briefly then about the experience of rolling out Nourish, how that's been for you and the differences that that's made.
I think I was very lucky in the fact that I'm quite used to implementing care systems. I've done it before. Nourish was relatively simple, I would say, for us. Because we were so used to using computerised care anyway, it wasn't a huge difference. It was different in the way it was laid out and different in certain bits and pieces of having to learn those. But the staff have picked it up quite easily. We find it really simple to use, which is so much more beneficial in our day-to-day jobs, obviously. It makes things a lot less timely, so we're spending less time doing notes and we can focus on the residents rather than sitting paper notes and things like that, or different care systems that they act very differently. I like the fact that with Nourish we can integrate a lot of other services, so we've got things like pain check, and we're looking at the visitors book and things like that as well, so we can integrate with other bits and pieces, which is good. So it just sort of brings it all together, and it makes things so much simpler when we've got to run a report or run care plans for review meetings. It's all there, it's in one easy access area, so it's been really beneficial for us here as a home.
A resident called Fred heard we were in the building and he loves a chat. He had previously been in 2 other care facilities but moved to the Close because it was rated outstanding by the CQC, and more sadly because his wife had passed away at their previous care home and he wanted a change of scenery.
I've heard some stories that you got a pilot's license at one point, and so you enjoy flying?
Oh yeah. I'm pilot, yeah.
Yeah, and so
I had a stroke in 1998, and I was determined not to let it do my life. So after I had the stroke, I found somebody who could teach me to fly. It wasn't easy, but I found somebody. In the end, I got a license and I could fly a normal airplane and passengers and all that.
That's incredible. How long did that take you?
It normally takes 50 hours. It took me 85.
What parts of living in this home do you enjoy the most?
Two or three things. One is the management structure is such that the managers have time to come around and talk to the residents. They have 2 main managers and a deputy manager. In the other homes, there was simply a manager and deputy manager, and they never really had time for the residents. And also, I think the food here is incredible. To Page's other half. I'm going to say better.
My time at the Close is coming to an end, but I had one final question for Tanya.
You say there are reasons why you're different. If you had to summarise those reasons, what would they be?
Oh gosh, that'd be quite difficult. We really do think outside the box. I'm not a clinician trained, so I'm not a nurse. And I like that, because you often find clinicians do tend to think quite solely into a box, whereas we think really much outside the box. I think our energy, our passion is really, really important. You've got obviously myself and Richard, the general managers, and all of the team underneath us. We seem to have this real passion for the close, loyalty to the close, and our staff teams. They are all amazing, and we couldn't do our jobs without them. But yeah, I don't know what makes us different. We just stand out, and I think to be outstanding, you have to stand out. It's a really difficult job to manage a big home like this. However, when you've got the most amazing team behind you, it's easy. I'll be honest, it's easy.
That's a powerful statement. To be outstanding, you have to stand out. And to stand out, you have to be bold. Going from inadequate to outstanding has not been one transformative moment or thing. It's been lots and lots of tiny details and small touches that have involved every person at every level in this home. It's been a genuine community effort. No idea too big or too small. And for this home to thrive, that is what has made the difference.